Hello, welcome to this update. This is just a very quick update for some important things. So it's right the mid of the day, but let's see nonetheless. So we have some red flag warnings, parts of the northeast because some gusty winds. We have some freeze watches, parts of Maryland and Pennsylvania, even northern Virginia, some wind advisories on the west and wind warnings in Montana. So yeah, be aware. It looks like we have some flash flood warnings in Hawaii, some flood watches in Hawaii, and some high surf advisories. So be aware there. We'll take a look at the forecast in a minute. And Alaska, some marine warnings and heavy freezing spray there. So here we don't have any severe weather, but we do have some elevated fire in the northeast because of the gusty winds there in the northeast. Makes it easy for fire to spread, and in Wyoming too. So be aware those areas. And tomorrow day 2, still in the northeast and in the high plains and Rockies, some elevated fire. So be careful there. Be aware, and just some general thunderstorms, some parts of the south and the northwest. Tomorrow in the northwest, some general storms, and later a storm or two in Florida, day 3, the northwest, the midwest, and even the four corners. So yeah, but nothing crazy. And we have still like excessive rainfall, no area still, but only for day 5 a marginal risk for October 30th. So precipitation today shows in the northwest more, a tiny hint in the northeast, more in parts of the south, day 2 more in the northwest. From those systems, day 3 more there in the northwest, day 4 more through the central US and central Canada and some areas there. Day 5 shows more there in the south central areas when we have the marginal risk. Day 6 quiets down a little bit, and day 7 still shows some rain there. So day 1 through 7 shows a lot of rain near Texas and Arkansas and Oklahoma, and a lot, more than like 7 inches, 5 inches, parts of the northwest. So be careful those areas. And snow, it's a tiny hint in Washington, but nothing crazy. And day 2 shows more snow in Oregon, Washington. Day 3 goes towards Montana, some more snow in other areas. Day 4 shows some probabilities in Wyoming, Colorado. Day 5, day 6, some more snow possible across those areas. So be aware. Let's see. So day 3, yeah, there's nothing crazy with this. So yeah, be aware of those areas. So as you can see here, we have that big system there in the northwest and parts of Pacific Canada and Alaska. So we have that snow there already. Tomorrow Sunday, more heavy rain in the northwest, and then it shows that snow going to like some areas of the Rockies, northern Rockies, and central Canada. So this is Monday. Shows some patches of snow possible in parts of northern Idaho, northern Nevada, parts of Montana, and shows that bigger snowfall throughout parts of Alberta, Saskatchewan, going to like Nunavut. So yeah, we'll monitor that, and the GFS shows even more snow in Wyoming, Montana, and all the way into North Dakota there in Minnesota on Wednesday the 30th. So that'll be interesting. Then he has another system on the west later, so like Thursday the 31st, some rain and snow. So we'll need to watch that. There's the European model, shows that system on the west, right? The heavier snow in parts of British Columbia and southern Alaska, has some lighter snow in Yukon, northwestern territories. It has some patches of light snow in Quebec, parts of Labrador, and it has the rain starting like Washington and Oregon, and some snow in Idaho, Sunday to Monday. More snow throughout British Columbia on Monday into Saskatchewan, some heavier snow into Nunavut, but even the northwestern territories and northern Manitoba. Then by Tuesday, it has more snow in parts of Colorado, Utah, Nevada, and the European really ramps up the snow in Wyoming Tuesday night into Wednesday there, and it brings another system through southern Alaska. Snow starts in Alaska on Monday the 28th, and it shows the system keeps curving. More snow in southern Alaska through Tuesday, goes into Yukon, more snow through British Columbia on Wednesday, and into Oregon and Washington again, and eventually to Idaho, Montana on the 31st. So be aware, we'll monitor that, and later on, early November does have still some systems, some snow near like Saskatchewan, parts of Manitoba and Ontario, some lighter snow. So be aware, and it has this cold front as extending from Texas all the way into the northern Midwest on the 31st, with some heavy rain and storms there, and some rain all the way north into Quebec and Ontario. And it has that bigger system there with like on Wednesday some snow in Quebec and more snow in those northern areas later. And then like on November 2nd, it has more storms near Texas, Oklahoma, and some rain there in those areas. So be aware. There's still like the Canadian model too shows that system on the west there, the heavy rain and snow on the Pacific, and then it brings that snow through like Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and goes into Nunavut, and it has more snow in Quebec on Tuesday too, and goes there. It has that heavier snow in Wyoming from Tuesday to Wednesday, parts of northern Colorado and some areas there, and it has the cold front on Thursday with some heavier storms there. So be aware. It has another system on the northwest by like November 2nd with some snow near Oregon, Nevada, and some other areas, and it has like that system in Alaska, some rain southernmost Alaska and snow further north on Monday. Has more snow for southern Alaska, Yukon, parts of British Columbia, all the way into Wednesday, and then into Washington and Oregon on Thursday, some more snow. So be aware those areas. So this is the general the general situation. So let's see here. For example, some accumulations first. Like there's the rainfall accumulation till the 31st. Those show that heavy rain parts of Washington, Oregon, coastal British Columbia, and some heavier in southern Alaska, but there will mainly be snow in southern Alaska there. Then it shows that cold front there, more rain into like central US and eastern Canada, and in Atlantic Canada, some in Newfoundland still. So yeah, even northern Nova Scotia shows a little bit more rain, and the GFS is a little bit different, but has a lot on the Pacific there, southern Alaska. So be aware. This is one thing. The snowfall is another thing. So this is the European. The European has more snow throughout Wyoming, Colorado, like let's see, some 8 inches in parts of Wyoming the next 5 days. Colorado some 12 inches of snow. The Rockies has some snow in Utah too. Some in the Sierra Nevada, California has more snow in Idaho. Some in western Montana, and it has a tiny hint in North Dakota and to Minnesota. And then it has more snow in Oregon, especially northern Washington, close to 20 inches there in the mountains. So be aware those areas. And then it has some very heavy snow parts of southern British Columbia. It's like some 91 centimeters and 29 centimeters. Some snow in Alberta, a lot of snow from northern British Columbia. Shows more snow throughout the Yukon, some lighter snow in northwestern territories, and like northern Alberta, northern Saskatchewan to Nunavut should get more snow too. And it has like the snow in Quebec, parts of Labrador, and it even has some snow in Newfoundland in the next 5 days. So northern Nova Scotia has some snow, and Newfoundland as well. Has a tiny hint of snow around Vermont, New Hampshire, parts of northern New York, and Maine, but very little. And yeah, and it has even northern Arizona, a tiny hint. So be aware, in those mountains of southern Alaska should get more than like 159 or like 62 inches of snow in parts of the mountains of southern Alaska. So be careful in those areas. Some heavier snow throughout southern Alaska, close to like 60 inches of snow in some areas there. So be careful. There's the GFS, shows a little bit less, but they'll show like 35 inches, parts of southern Alaska, 43 inches, and it has more snow throughout Alaska there, central southern Alaska, and it has like the GFS is a crazy scenario. It has like snow in Wyoming and Montana, goes all the way through North Dakota, South Dakota, some snow in Colorado, and then passes through Minnesota all the way to Ontario, more snow, and goes to like Quebec and Labrador with more snow there. So this would be a like crazier scenario, but we'll keep watching. It has some heavier snow. The mountains there, British Columbia, close 66 centimeters, so be aware in those areas. It has Northern California too, some snow, and yeah, and then like the icon, it has more snow throughout those areas. Wyoming has in southern Colorado and New Mexico some through Nevada, Utah has Northern California and the mountains in Idaho, southwestern Montana, parts of western Montana, in Washington and Oregon some too. And it has some in like New Hampshire and some in northern New York too. So yeah, be aware, it has a tiny hint in Minnesota of some snow, and it has that heavier snow parts of the mountains, British Columbia, and some in Alberta there, especially like in northern Saskatchewan, northern Alberta, some more snow. So be aware of those areas. And it has the mountains there of Yukon, southern Alaska, more than 184 centimeters, more than 64 inches of snow. So be careful there. Central Alaska, southern Alaska, and yeah, it has some in Nova Scotia and Newfoundland too. So be aware in those areas. And like the wind gusts, there are some gusty winds parts of the west because of these systems, like some 8 kilometer per gusts, parts of British Columbia, southern Alberta, some 77 kilometer per gusts, and like into northern Montana, some 47 kilometer per gust or more. And then as this continues, kind of diminishes tomorrow, and then shows it picking up again on Monday, more than 56 mile per gusts. Montana on Monday, show like in California too, some like 50 mile per gusts in the Sierra Nevada, and throughout Sunday we should have some stronger gusts in Oregon, and more than 40 mile per gusts, and then like shows some bigger winds close to Wyoming and Montana, like on Monday, especially northern Montana later on Monday. Does show kind of diminishing, but it shows some winds picking up in the south, like some occasional gusty winds in Utah, especially Colorado, some spots in New Mexico, Southern California. And then it has really picking up in Arizona, New Mexico, more than 58 mile per gust, and Oklahoma. This will be next Tuesday at noon. Show some very high gusts near Oklahoma and Texas, and parts of Kansas, and then the European really cranks these winds up later, like Oklahoma more than 50 mile per gusts, Kansas, Nebraska, but take a look what it does in New Mexico. It gets more than 65 mile per gusts in New Mexico. So this will be very crazy. If you are in northern Mexico, be aware too. And then like shows more through Colorado there, and Texas, some more gusty winds in Texas. So be aware. And this progresses, shows the winds kind of continue along the cold front Wednesday into Thursday. And yeah, we might have some stuff in the Rockies again on November 1st and on the west there, especially in Alaska on November 1st to November 2nd in the Aleutian Islands. So showing some pretty intense stuff there. So we need to watch that, so be aware. But the Europeans want things, and the GFS has like also some strong winds in the plains, but it doesn't have like those winds in New Mexico that the European had. The GFS is just in the plains and early on in Montana there, and Idaho, some gusty winds. So be aware those areas. And now, like Sunday, shows some stronger winds near British Columbia in the ocean there. But then, as we get into Monday, already picks those winds up in southern Alberta, along those foothills, more than 80 to 90 km per gusts. And then late on Monday shows it picking up even more, like some 89, 91 km per gusts. And then it shows the system very close to the coast, some high winds at the coast there, British Columbia, so be aware. And then it shows like Tuesday, some slightly gusty winds in some areas of Manitoba and Nunavut, and really picks up in the Hudson Bay and right at the coast of Nunavut and Manitoba on Monday. Shows this going to Quebec there with some strong winds like Tuesday the 29th and Wednesday, especially northern Quebec and Nunavut, and really cranks up the system in Nunavut next Wednesday the 30th. So yeah, and passes right over the Hudson Bay, some strong winds, so be aware, and eventually into Quebec later. So be aware in those areas. We have the system in Alaska on Monday, shows some stronger winds, close to 40 mile per gusts or more in some areas there. And around October 29th, already brings out the system from Russia into the Aleutian Islands there. They might produce some intense gusts, but especially on November 1st shows that big system approaching. So be aware those areas. Now the temperatures shows still some very cold temperatures in Nunavut, many areas to the north, so minus 13, minus 17 Celsius, so very cold still, even to Quebec and Manitoba, some negative temperatures into Ontario too, so be aware. And then later, does show these negative temperatures on Sunday morning, really digging down, some minus 8 in Manitoba, like central southern Quebec, so minus 6, minus 7, northern Labrador, so minus 7 there, so very cold. And then it shows like in Yukon, so minus 14, northern British Columbia, very cold. And in the afternoon, kind of warms up in the southern prairies, all the way to 21 degrees on Sunday, but very cold still, especially Yukon, Northwestern Territories, minus 24 degrees Celsius, minus 22, minus 21, tremendously cold in those areas, so be careful. And shows still those negative temperatures well south into New Brunswick and minus 9 in Quebec, in Newfoundland there, so be aware. And then like some minus 11, minus 18 in other areas, so be aware. And the European really brings those temperatures all the way south, southern Saskatchewan, some negative temperatures, practically all of Alberta and many areas there, so be aware. And here, like for let's see, in Alaska, it does show some very low temperatures already. This is Sunday, so minus 15 Fahrenheit, minus 16. There'll be less than minus 20 Celsius, so be aware. All of Alaska, some 4, 3 Fahrenheit, 8 Fahrenheit, 15 Fahrenheit, so be aware. Might warm up in a spot or two, like in the Pacific, it's warmer there. But those areas north, central Alaska, minus 21 Fahrenheit, so please be careful with those temperatures. So yeah, be aware. And this kind of fluctuates. It doesn't like stay like that, but sometimes like southeastern Alaska, southwestern Alaska might get a little less cold, but generally very cold there. So stay safe. And here we have the temperatures in the U.S. So it shows some 90s still in the southwest and some 80s, parts of the southeast in some areas. And then Saturday night into Sunday morning, like tonight, and does show those temperatures in the northeast very cold. There is some 30s Fahrenheit, some 20s, like North Dakota, some other areas there, very cold. Day 2, maximum temperature shows some 70s in the plains, some 80s in Texas, some 90s in Arizona, and some 80s in the southeast too, and only some low 40s in the extreme northern Maine there, colder in the Cascades and some areas there. So Sunday night to Monday shows in the northeast like 20s Fahrenheit, 29 to 27, northwest some 20s in the mountains too, and some teens, especially like some 30s and 40s outside the mountains, so be aware. some 60s in the south still, minimum temperatures. Day 3 show like Monday, it's very cold in the west during the day too. So this means that Monday night to Tuesday will be tremendously cold. So like during the day show some 90s in New Mexico, Arizona, into Texas too, some high 80s in the south. And yeah, be aware. The Monday night into Tuesday shows some 30s on the west, 20s. Those mountains might get some things, especially in the high elevations of California and Wyoming in many areas. It's still like very cold in Maine and New Hampshire, some 24 Fahrenheit there. So very cold still, some like 31, 33. So yeah, be aware. And then Tuesday afternoon shows some 80s in the south central, some areas there, and still some like teens and 20s in the mountains of Wyoming, even during the day. So be aware in California, Montana, and Idaho, very cold, especially like Tuesday night to Wednesday morning. Shows that cold really digs down now. So now shows those negative temperatures digging all the way down to south central New Mexico, and in like Montana, Wyoming, some 20s Fahrenheit, some like teens, 14 in parts of Nevada. So just to see this a little bit better, let's take a look here. So it shows like 17, 10 Fahrenheit, 15, 14 Fahrenheit, 15, so very cold. This is mainly during like the morning, but yeah, stay warm. Have some ways to stay warm there. Be aware. But that same day, like Wednesday during the day, it does show those areas warm up during the day to 40s and low 50s, but remains cold in the mountains. So if you are in the mountains, remains cold and kind of hot in the south still, Texas, Florida, and some areas. Then again, Thursday morning shows a lot of 20s, the Dakotas, some low teens in parts of Wyoming, Colorado, so very cold there. Minnesota, some 20s, 30s, California, basically all of the west there, very cold. So here, like central U.S. for like Colorado, let's see if it appears. So show like 15, 19 Fahrenheit, 14. In those more purple areas, it might be even colder. So be careful. Like, let's see if it works. Thursday during the day warms up to like 50s, 40s outside the mountains, but in those very high elevations of Montana, Wyoming, and Idaho, might still remain very cold. Like Friday morning shows still very cold across the west, some 20s, teens, and 30s. In the north, some 30s and 20s too. So be aware in those areas. And like Friday during the day, still remains very cold there and still hot in the south, kind of hot. So be aware. In the 24-hour max wind gusts for Saturday, today's October 26th. So shows until Sunday, so some very high winds in Montana, close to more than 60 mile per hour gusts occasionally. So and shows in the very high peaks of California, there's some more than 60, 70 mile per hour gusts occasionally. So be aware. And just for curiosity, the 24-hour, the 48-hour snowfall does show some snow in the next 48 hours in parts of Washington, Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, Montana, and even New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, and some areas. So be aware those areas, and yeah, be aware. And later on, we are watching for some severe weather with some troughs, possibly in the first week of November in the plains there, but still some uncertainty with this. So we'll keep watching, because there'll be some shear and everything, but the cape will be very low, and there'll be some moisture. So we'll be watching that, and yeah, be aware those areas.